What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Ethereum. In this video, I want to do some short-term price predictions. I want to go over what I expect for the month of January as well, and then we'll get into some longer-term stuff, potentially even some cycle dynamic stuff when it comes to alt season, the altcoin markets, and all that stuff. So if that sounds good to you, hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, my friends. So first and foremost, short-term stuff. Here we are at $3,400 basically right now, from a relative low that we had on the 4th of November to the relative high that we had here in the beginning of December. We've been holding the 382 as support, and generally, whenever you bounce off the 382, you look to break the 236. If you can't break the 236, you look to break the 382. And if it weren't for yesterday's price action, not just for Ethereum, but across the board in crypto, if it wasn't for yesterday's price action and therefore also the continuation that we've had today so far, I would definitely be under the impression that we were moving down and likely to the 61869 zone. Now that option, that move is still possible. We very well could see a lower low than this. We very well could go down to the golden ratio zone. In fact, whenever you break through the 382, that tends to be and is most likely the case that you would go down to this area, which is at about $2,900 to $2,800. Now that would make a lot of sense for a couple of reasons. Primarily, from a low to a high, that is your golden ratio zone. Okay, so that's a primary reason too. But then also, previous areas of resistance coming in line right here at the base of the zone, finding support at previous areas of resistance. That's a pretty common thing to do. And then, I wonder, just from here, from this low to this high, your golden ratio of this move. You've got a golden ratio inside the golden ratio. So there's a lot of sense to be made of lower prices. There definitely is. But if Ethereum, and I have a theory that if Ethereum is absolved of seeing lower lows, right? If it doesn't do this, if it breaks out of this to the upside, then I would assume the majority, if not all altcoins too, would then be absolved of seeing lower lows. If Ethereum does this, if we move up and we see new highs relative to these highs here, and your altcoin is seeing new relative lows, that's not a good thing, right? That's how you know you've picked a loser, and you should probably get out of that, right? So if your coin doesn't go up and form new highs with Ethereum and probably subsequently the rest of the market, just be aware that you're probably not holding on to something good. Probably. You never know. Things can be weird. Sometimes things take their turns, right? If your coin just went on a moon mission, right? If your coin is, I don't know what coin it would be, but it just went on a moon mission while everything's topped off, and then now everything starts to move up, and then you start to consolidate. Okay, well, maybe you just have a coin that's moving different to the rest of the market. That's fine too. But if you have a coin that looks like this right now, right? It's in this kind of move up bull flag structure, and it doesn't see a new high with Ethereum or the rest of the market. That's how you know you've got a loser. But I'm digressing here, man. Let's get back to the main point here. So, I definitely am optimistic at this point, where 2 days ago before New Year's Eve, I was under the impression that the whole market would see about a 20% drop or more. Now I'm under the impression that we might be absolved of that, guys. The last 24 hours really brought some new life into the markets. The only thing is it's Thursday, right? Yeah, it's Thursday. So we need to see some life come in by the end of this week. We need today and tomorrow to not just move up, but ideally get us out of this range. If we could get a day to close above $3,500, I think that would be enough to convince me that this is the low. If we can't do that by the end of this week, if we're still in this range by the end of this week, well, then it gives me hope. It gives me more hope when we're at the upper ends of this range than it does at the bottom ends of this range, that will move up instead of break down, right? But until we have a week to close outside of this range, until we have prices to get outside of this range, there is still a very real threat of moving back down to $2,900 to $2,800. So just be aware of that. We're at 3,400, 3,380 right now, right? Finding support at previous areas of support, finding support at previous areas of resistance. Let me do this real quick because this shit just keeps going off. There we go. Getting blown up, man. It's annoying. It's okay. It's good. I have my notifications on for a reason, but when I'm making videos, my phone's just vibrating. I don't know how much of that you guys can hear over the microphone or not, but it's been going off for like 5 minutes. I'm like, okay, it's just not stopping. It seems that the notifications don't stop for me whenever it's nighttime. It's like throughout the day I don't notice it, but anyways, enough about me. High to low here, relative high to low. When Ethereum does move up, whenever it does decide to move higher, and I think that it will by the end of January. This is when we're getting into the January targets here. I assume that we'll see targets anywhere from about 4,900 to 6,155. These are all suitable end of January targets, beginning of February targets. Absolutely they are. End of this next move targets. as far as when we can look forward to those prices taking place, I would say that we can confidently assume these prices between about $4,900 to $6,200 would be in a short-term effect, that we could expect them in a very short amount of time when we get above $3,800 again. When we get above $3,800 on any given week, when we're closing a week above $3,800, it's time to go. We get any daily price above $4,000, it's time to go, you guys. So this next move up, likely a break from this zone, just breaking out of this zone would be enough in itself. But technically on the charts here, the true target to break would be 3,800. We break that and then it's on. I would be excited. For me, it would be all over, but the new highs, right? Once we get above about 3,550, right? We close above 3,500. Really, if we get a day to close above 3,500, I'll be convinced that we're moving out of this range to the upside. We'll probably see a new relative high here. If we're going to see a new relative high here, then we're breaking above the 886. And if we're going to break above the 886, then we're going to go over here. All right, and then if we're going to go over here, monthly basis, then we're going to be breaking out to new all-time highs, which would then imply potentially some respect based off of these fibs, which, I mean, the minimum target isn't up until 7,600. So while, yes, this next move, whenever it happens to move up, the primary target zone would be here between about 6,200 and 4,900. While that would be the primary target zone, you would, in a longer term or a more midterm kind of aspect, be anticipating targets around 75, 7,600, potentially as high as 13,000 and beyond, right? There's just a lot of significance, right, with these fibs right in this area between about $76 and $10,000, right? So somewhere in that area. So I don't expect by the end of January that we'll be up here, but maybe by the end of May, by the end of April, sometime in that range, I think we'd be as high as $7,700 to about $10,000, something like that. I realized that, yes, while we were calling, I was calling for 7,700 to take place by the end of January when it was the beginning of December. That was my call. That was also back whenever we assumed that in this relative range here, right? Oh, no, I'm sorry. In this relative range here, at the beginning of the, oh yeah, we're on the monthly aspect. At the beginning of the month, we were expecting that December would be green, right? We'd probably close somewhere up here, but instead we're down here. So from here by the end of December up to here by the end of January, not a hard call to make. But now I would say being at about $3,300, $3,400, we're in January. I don't think 7,700 is or 7,500 is a suitable target for the end of January. It could happen. It's very possible it could happen, but I think more suitably something between about 6,200 to 4,900 would be the case by the end of January. And then going into April, May, I would expect that we are, or suspect that we are about $7,500 or higher going into like the midway point of the year there. So definitely exciting times ahead. What that means for altcoins, you guys, Ethereum on the precipice of breaking out to new all-time highs would imply that the rest of the altcoin market is on the precipice as well. And if they've already broken out to new all-time highs, then that just means higher highs. If they haven't broken out to new all-time highs, that's when we can start to take into consideration, probably on a large aspect across the board for most altcoins, their 1272s to their 1618s. Not all altcoins, right? I don't suspect Ethereum will hit its 1272 by the end of January, but I do suspect a lot of altcoins will hit their relative 1272s from their cycle high to cycle lows or higher, the primary expected zones by the end of this month. I want to look at the weekly RSI. Weekly RSI looks pretty good. Monthly RSI looks good as well. 3-day time frame looking good, looking like a nice area to bounce. If we go lower, that's the only thing, right? Everything that I'm saying now, and I feel like I'm flip-flopping between the days, right? One day I was bullish, and the last day that I made videos, which was 2 days ago, I got bearish, and then today I'm bullish again. But that's how it is sometimes, man. I mean, the price action, to be fair, has been like that too, right? Bearish here on this day, and now bullish on this day. We're not really too far away at all, but that's just what it takes sometimes, man. Day to day, it can be, and who knows, man? Tomorrow, if the price is down here, then we're going to be bullish for prices that are down here. You know what I mean? And even if I flip-flop 5 times right here, as long as I'm catching the majority of the move, that's the point anyways, right? And I have no problem being on a camera publicly flip-flopping day in and day out, as long as I do get the right move, right? I could have made a bullish video at every single low, a bearish video at every single bottom, or every single top, and as long as my last call, bullish or bearish, remains true to the side that we break out on, I'll feel confident with that. I'll be fine with that, right? But all that last part was just me making an excuse for myself, saying that I am flip-flopping, I am getting bullish again, right? Because the last videos I made were on this day, and across the board for most of the market, the majority of the market, I was definitely bearish. But now there's a little bit of optimism, but cautious optimism, right? I do believe in this zone right now, as of now, I do believe we'll break out to the upside, so long as by the end of this week, again, by the end of this week, we're above here. If by the end of this week we're still in this range, it's not that I'll expect that we break to the downside. It's just that I might be worried. Let's just say worried that we could come down to the downside and see lower lows. But we'll see. I really do expect, especially with the price action taking place like this, especially with the fact that it's Thursday, we're getting into the end of the week, and Thursday and Friday are the last 2 days of the stock week. It's also the last 2 days of the first week of January. I suspect we'll get some quote-unquote significant price action. It's the first week after the holidays too, so people have been wanting to do things with their money that haven't been doing anything with their money because it's the holidays and they're away from the trading desk. They're going to make their decisions now. They're going to make their plays now. Could it send us to the upside? Could it break us down? Whatever happens, whether we go up from here or down from here, inevitably we will see new all-time highs, right? The difference being timing. So if we move down from here, okay, maybe it'll be later in January that we're finally breaking above these highs. And that might diminish the potential targets. Instead of 6,200, we see whatever that next target would have been. What was it? Was it like 5,900 or 4,900? 4,900, or no, I got 4,400. Is this the right target? That can't be the right target. Hold on. I'm sorry. It was 4,900. Okay, yeah, so that target there. And that just all depends on, do we go lower when these targets get hit, and if we see them by the end of January. And I definitely would expect that we would at least see 4,900 by the end of January. We're at 33. Let me make that clear too, because I think that's a rather bold call. We're at $3,380 right now. I'm calling for $4,900 or more by the end of January for Ethereum, whether we break out to the upside now or we go down now. So I think that's an important call to make. That's something important to understand as far as like what the dynamics that I'm expecting for January to have is that whether we break up or we break down, Ethereum will be at new all-time highs. And not only will it be at new all-time highs by the end of January, I'm suspecting that it would be anything from about like a 45% increase from its current prices, right? 40 to 45%, if not more, right? That'd be like the base case. The best case would be something at like 6,200. Ethereum could see over 80% gains from here until the end of January. I very much do believe that. That just depends, that target will be more applicable if we break this zone bullishly. If not, that target's still applicable, but just maybe at a later date, maybe not by the end of January. So I hope I'm just making that painstakingly clear that I do, at the moment, have hope. I'm flip-flopping again. I have hope we break out to the upside. If I'm wrong, if my suspicions are wrong, we're still going to go to the upside. It's just going to be at a later date. We likely would form a lower low, okay, if we saw any given days close below $3,300. If we saw any given day close below there, likely we would go down to about 2,900 or lower, 2,900 to 2,800, and then we move up. All of that would happen in the same month of January. We would still see moves above these highs here and at least at 4,900. Okay, so that, just to be clear there. Okay. What's one more thing that I want to do before this video is over? I don't know. One more thing. Maybe we can look at the ribbon, Ethereum, USD. Daily ribbon promoting a chance right now, guys. It's definitely promoting a chance. What you'd want to see is you would definitely want to close above, on this ribbon, technically you'd want to close above 3470, but let's just close above 3,500, right? That's the goal. Close above 3,500. You close above this yellow line, you close above the ribbon here, that would be a very bullish indication. The ribbon itself would agree that you're going to see new highs compared to this. Like you would like, and not just barely new highs, like very, like significantly higher highs probably. On a 3-day basis, ribbon looks bullish as well, bullish as hell, like it's just getting started really, right? Found support at the base of the ribbon. Here you are accumulating at the bottom, or at the top of the ribbon, I suppose. Tipped it on the weekly basis. Weekly looks really good as well. The weekly is definitely just getting started, man. This says that undeniably you're going to see new all-time highs by the end of this cycle, right? Not just by the end of the cycle, sorry. I say by the end of the cycle. By the end of this move, like in a very short amount of time. 4,900 is essentially safe, right? You're likely going to see 4,900 before you ever see anything below 3,000 ever again. Like let's put it this way. I'm confident with Ethereum. You will double in price from here. You have a better chance at doubling in price from here, which is great for the rest of crypto. Better chance of doing that than you do of of dropping 9%. Of dropping, that sounds crazy coming out of my mouth, man, but that's, I mean it, right? You have a better chance of doubling from here than you do of dropping 10%, dropping 9%, 8.5%. That's my genuine opinion at the moment, right? That can all change if you close below $3,300. If you move up to $3,500 and you reject and we're back down to these areas, if either of those, we close below here or we move up and then we move down, either of those things, well then very likely we will see new lows, right? Then the ball's back in the bear's court, but time will tell on that. So I got really nothing else to say, guys. I think I'm running out of steam here. We can do one more thing, and that is compare Ethereum to Bitcoin here, okay? ETH to BTC, and then we'll finish this bad boy up. ETH to BTC. If we look at this, maybe on a monthly basis, yeah. From a relative low to a relative high, I'll get the actual low on there. We have tipped the 618, the golden ratio. We've actually reached for it, but not quite gotten there yet. Maybe this is the more appropriate low. I don't know. You know, if it is, that's the 618 truly there, but I don't know. Either way, close enough, right? It doesn't actually have to hit that line. It's not something that's required. Getting that look is bullish as it is. It's actually more bullish. That's more of a bullish look, the way it looks there, than if you tip the line like this, right? That looks more respected, but this is a more bullish look, right? That says that you can't even get down that low. There's so much attention on Ethereum versus Bitcoin that this regular area that you would tip for support, you couldn't even tip it because there's so much attention on it that there's so much buying pressure that it's going to come up. I feel like we are at the precipice. We are in the wake of a move up right now, a very aggressive move up. And I suspect nothing less than a wonderful aging of this video, especially this part right here, that we are right now in the wake. Right, you know what a wake is, right? It's like imagine a boat coming at you. It's a big boat, but before the boat hits you, the little ripples in the water hit you, right? It's a very still lake, whatever, still ocean, whatever you want to be in. And before the boat gets to you, before you get smacked by the big object, you get smacked by the little objects telling you, hey, there's something coming. You're in the wake of something big coming. We're in that wake now of something big coming. I think it will be a very aggressive move for Ethereum versus Bitcoin, right? Something on the lines of like this, right? Nothing like a bigger move than what we've seen in the last 3 years versus Bitcoin is coming right now for Ethereum. We're in the wakes of that right now. It will take us to new highs, okay? Just when is it going to happen? I say right now. Is it going to be this week? Is it going to be this month? Is it going to be tomorrow? It's hard to say, but when it does happen, likely we will see Ethereum gain value versus Bitcoin to the degree of, like, let's just see, something like 200%, 360%, more than that. I suspect that we will see Ethereum seeing new highs versus Bitcoin this cycle. We didn't last cycle, but I think that we will this cycle. If we don't see new highs versus Bitcoin this cycle, I'll give it this, man. If Ethereum doesn't see new highs versus Bitcoin this cycle, then at least something that would be 200% to 360% higher than it is now, right? Which would then still imply that Ethereum outperforms Bitcoin for the rest of the cycle. But regardless, right, whether we break out of this range, whether we form some kind of double top or whatever, a failed W attempt, whatever it is, definitely I would suspect that Ethereum gains value throughout the rest of the cycle right here. And here's the cool part. Here's what I'm going to end the video on. Okay, so let's look at the others chart and compare that to Ethereum versus Bitcoin. Okay, so this red line here is others, right? That's the majority of altcoins. That's like the altcoin market essentially. Is this red chart right here? This red line up here. Okay. If you notice, when Ethereum, because this chart here, the candlesticks is Ethereum versus Bitcoin. If you notice, whenever this chart here, come on, if I can get it to the right points, finds a low. Whenever it finds its low here, maybe on a monthly closing basis, it finds its low there. You can see that the other chart, ergo the altcoin market, goes on a massive run up. Okay, Ethereum comes down and the altcoins move down as well. Ethereum finds its low and starts moving up, and altcoins start moving up as well, right? Here you can see Ethereum topping off and altcoins still running afterwards, right? But it's when Ethereum had its second top, whenever its bear market was starting, that altcoins bull markets were at an end, right? At the second peak, the official beginning. I suppose the official beginning of the bear market was here, but this was like the confirmation that we were in the bear market, that was the confirmation that we were in the bear market for altcoins, or maybe the beginning of that, right? We didn't get confirmation until a little bit later. But still, here we are. Ethereum bottoms out barely. It just bottoms out for a little bit, and that gives altcoins enough drive to move up in that time, right? But it's nothing compared to what it sees in its finale phase, the strongest part of the bull, right? This was altcoins got a taste, a little bear market bounce, whatever, right? But the true strength of the bull market came in when Ethereum actually bottomed out, right? Whenever it had already bottomed out, and even then we had to wait until Ethereum started to move up, which is basically here on this month, and that's when altcoins started to move up as well, right? So all I'm trying to say by this chart, if you haven't picked up on it by now, is that Ethereum gaining value versus Bitcoin tends to be a good indicator of altcoin season starting, right? And I suspect here at the relative low to the relative high of Ethereum here, I suspect, that's the relative high, being very close to the golden ratio for a bottom, that if we haven't found a low, which I think that we have, but if this isn't the low, we're very close to it. And if we have found a low, or we're very close to finding a low, all that means is regardless if we go lower first to find our low, or we've already found our low and we're ready to move up, whenever we do move up, which will be soon, altcoin season will be in full effect, right? It won't be in this half kind of effect stuff that we've seen throughout the cycle so far, right? Altcoins have been doing this all cycle, right? We've been moving up a little bit, still not seeing new highs versus their relative highs, okay? And that's all been happening while Ethereum's been losing value versus Bitcoin, right? It's actually, we've been seeing decent performance all while Ethereum's been losing value versus Bitcoin. What's going to happen when Ethereum gains value versus Bitcoin? We'll see altcoins take off at a pace like we haven't seen for literally years. So that's exciting stuff. That's why I wanted to kick the video off with, or the night off with Ethereum. I hope you guys liked the video. If you did, hit the like button. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. I'll see you on the next one. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye. Finding support at previous areas of resistance. That was your closing monthly low. Your annual close. Let's just look real quick. What do you have an annual? What do you have an annual? I guess nothing significant. That was a tip there on this candle. You closed here on this candle, you tipped it on that candle, to be fair. But hold on. Let me go back out to this. Maybe the weekly. Maybe the monthly, screw it. All I'm trying to say, man, is you closed right here at previous areas of resistance, finding support right there. That's a very key area to find support. Not only that, that's also finding support at the areas of resistance here where you had your little inverse head and shoulders to break out of there, right? You're finding support there and finding support at kind of previous areas of support as well going back here. So it would make sense from a charting perspective, just on a basic level, that you move up to here, or that you move up from here, let alone whenever you take into consideration the low to high fib promoting the 618 bounce support right there as well. Man, I'm running out of words to say, and the heartburn is kicking up, so I'm going to end the video there. Hit the like button, you guys. Subscribe. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.